Today, I want to speak to you with complete honesty. You often think that you are not attractive because you do not fit the beauty standards you see on social media, in magazines, or on television. You believe you are missing something, even though in reality, you have what others are missing. Attractiveness does not always show up in the mirror. It is not just a perfect body or a flawless face. Sometimes it lies in something much deeper, in the way you make others feel, in the energy you radiate without realizing it, in the impact you have even when you do nothing. The problem is that you are so busy criticizing yourself, comparing yourself, and trying to change yourself that you do not see how much you are already desired, admired, and remembered. Today, I want to show you 12 signs that prove you are attractive even if you do not believe it yourself. This is not about arrogance or narcissism, but about reminding you of your own worth. Because, yes, appearance can attract attention, but what truly captivates is your essence. People remember your presence. There are women who enter a room and do not need to say anything to be noticed. They are neither loud nor dressed in a flashy way, and yet their presence remains in memory. Have you ever experienced someone saying to you, "I don't know why, but you came to my mind," or that someone still clearly remembers you after months even though you barely met? That is a sign of emotional, not physical attraction. The way you look, listen, and simply exist leaves a trace that cannot be forgotten. Your energy carries a signature that others feel even if they cannot explain it. Men get nervous in your presence. Maybe you have noticed that a man behaves differently when he talks to you, that he changes his voice, tries too hard, or laughs for no reason. This happens when you really impress him. It is not fear, but an instinctive reaction to something that touches him deeply. A man only becomes insecure when something truly matters to him. So, if you notice that he tries harder, is more attentive, or suddenly controls himself, it is because he senses that you are different, that you trigger something in him he cannot control. And women notice you too. When you enter a room, you feel their glances. They look you up and down, and you think they are criticizing you. But often it is not criticism but silent admiration. Women have a sense for details, and when they study you carefully, they try to figure out what it is that you have. Maybe it is your style, your posture, your calmness, or simply your natural aura. They sense what you sometimes forget, that your energy is strong, authentic, and unique. These glances do not always come from competition. In truth, many women are drawn to something they cannot explain, and when they do not understand why someone stands out, they just look more closely. So, if you often notice that other women are watching you, observing you, or evaluating you without even knowing you, do not see it as a threat, but as confirmation. Your presence does not go unnoticed, and that is rare. Sometimes, the very things you criticize most about yourself, your hair, your skin tone, your way of being, are what fascinate others. They try to understand what it is you have, what makes you who you are, what they might wish they had themselves. Many of these women will never tell you, but their attention screams it silently. So, the next time you feel those glances, do not withdraw. Stand tall and feel comfortable in your light. If other women cannot stop looking at you, it is because something in you is already shining. Fourth, men offer you help without you asking for it. A man can talk a lot, but what he really feels, he shows through actions. When a man feels attracted to a woman, an instinctive need to be helpful is activated in him. Not because he thinks you cannot do it alone, but because he wants to be useful and close to you. If you notice that men often offer their help, whether carrying something for you, accompanying you, or explaining something to you without being asked, that is not a coincidence. It is a clear sign of male attraction. This is their way of saying, "I am here, without saying it directly. Many men are not particularly expressive with words, but they show their interest through small gestures. If he opens the door for you, offers you his jacket, texts you to check if you arrived safely, or brings you something you do not even need, that is not mere politeness. Watch closely, because a man who truly feels something for you proves it with actions. If you notice this behavior in several men, that they support you, help you, or want to protect you, then it is a clear sign that something in you triggers this protector energy. And that, my queen, is pure attraction. Fifth, there are people who cannot get you out of their heads. Maybe you have already heard, "I suddenly thought of you," or "I dreamed of you last night." No idea why, and you politely smile as if it were nothing special, but it is something special. That is not a coincidence. That is emotional magnetism, one of the clearest signs that your energy has power. If you stay in someone's mind without being present, without pushing yourself on them, it is because you left something behind. Not through words, but through the feeling you created. This kind of attraction goes deeper than logic or looks. It is when your aura, your voice, your gaze, or your movement touches something in the other person that they cannot explain, but also cannot forget. Many outwardly attractive women do not achieve this. They draw attention for a moment, but they do not stay in memory. But, if you have heard more than once that someone dreamed of you or suddenly had you on their mind, then it is clear you have an energetic field that leaves traces that cannot be bought, learned, or imitated. And when a woman reaches this degree of emotional presence, she becomes unforgettable. So next time someone says, "I don't know why, but I had to think of you," do not take it as an empty compliment. Take it as proof that you leave an impression without even doing anything. And that, believe me, is much more powerful than any external perfection. Sixth, you can be silent and still draw all the attention to yourself. Many women do not understand the power that lies in their silence. You do not need to speak loudly to be heard, and you do not need to put yourself in the spotlight to be seen. Your mere presence already speaks louder than 1,000 words. And if it has already happened to you that you are in a meeting, in a group, or in a room, and even when you are silent, people look at you, include you, search for you with their eyes, then you possess one of the clearest signs of mature emotional attraction. This attraction is not based on what you say, but on how you move in the room, how at peace you are with yourself, how comfortable you are in your own skin, how you do not need to prove or justify anything. This kind of woman radiates something very powerful, emotional autonomy, and that is precisely what is deeply seductive. While others try to fill their insecurities with words, laughter, or exaggerations, you are simply there, quiet, present, and yet you are noticed. This silent magnetism belongs to a woman who no longer needs external validation, and paradoxically, that is exactly what attracts the most. Men feel it. They cannot explain it, but they sense it. A woman who can remain silent without feeling uncomfortable is a woman who does not seek approval. And for many men, that is not only fascinating, but simply irresistible. So if you notice that even when you say nothing, the glances turn toward you, the questions arise, or people approach you on their own, then believe me, your presence is already speaking for you. And what it says is powerful because true attractiveness does not shout. True attractiveness knows how to command the room in silence. Seventh, they try to impress you. Have you noticed that some men suddenly become more eloquent, successful, or funny when they talk to you? They begin to speak about their achievements, exaggerate stories, list their accomplishments, as if they were giving a presentation about themselves, and you might wonder why this sudden change. The answer is simple. They want to impress you. This does not happen because you are seeking recognition, but because they sense that you already impress without trying, and that unsettles them. When a man is truly fascinated by a woman, he automatically switches into demonstration mode. His ego wants to prove itself before you, wants you to notice him, to take him seriously, to consider him worthy of someone like you. So if you see men changing their posture in your presence, lowering their voices, puffing out their chests, or interrupting others to tell you something impressive, then you are witnessing a subtle but clear form of attraction. This has nothing to do with arrogance, but with the deep need to be acknowledged by a woman who already radiates her own worth. Because true attractiveness does not beg for attention. It draws it in simply through energy. And without realizing it, you can trigger exactly that he wants to rise within himself to be on your level. So, if you notice that men inflate themselves a bit in your presence, do not see it only as male ego. It is a reaction to your presence, a presence that does not need to prove anything because it already radiates what cannot be imitated authenticity with magnetism. 8th, your social networks trigger stronger reactions than usual. We live in a time when language is no longer only spoken but also digital. Many people post photos, stories, or quotes, but not all create an impact. You do. If you notice that your stories have more views than expected, that your posts receive long, emotional comments, or that people write to you whom you have not been in contact with for years, that is no coincidence. You send out something that only few can: emotional presence in the digital space. It is not about showing more skin or provoking, nor about perfectly edited photos. It is about something deeper. Your genuineness, the energy with which you express yourself. Because, yes, even through a screen, one can sense when a woman is attractive. Not outwardly, but through her vibration. When you post something and people react deeply when they think, feel, reach out, it means that your energy is working. If you notice that your content stirs movement without you trying, then it is because you carry something within you that captivates others. And that is one of the clearest and most modern forms of attraction. The kind that remains even when you are not physically present. The kind that leaves traces, that invites, that awakens something in others. So the next time you doubt yourself because of a photo or a story, remember this. If your posts trigger strong, emotional, or unexpected reactions, it is not because of what you show, but because of what you spark. And what your energy sparks is more valuable than any algorithm. 9th, people underestimate you and are then surprised. At first, they see you and think they know who you are: quiet, calm, inconspicuous. So, they lower their guard and put you into a box. No threat, no risk, no power factor. But then you speak, act, or set a boundary calmly but firmly. And everything changes. Suddenly, they see that behind your gentleness lies strength. Behind your calm voice, clarity. Behind your composure, a woman who does not need volume to create respect. This contrast when you are underestimated on the outside and then they encounter your inner strength is one of the most impressive forms of emotional attraction. In a world full of surfaces, noise, and masks, you break the pattern. You are soft, yet steadfast. And that confuses because many men are used to beauty that adapts. But you do not seek approval. You seek congruence with yourself. And when someone crosses your boundaries and you simply smile and walk away, you leave an impression. Your true charisma is not in the obvious, but in what no one expects. And when they discover it, it is too late to overlook you. 10th, you trigger jealousy even without intention. There is something that cannot be faked, hidden, or avoided: the emotional effect of your presence. You enter a room quietly, without fuss, and yet the energy changes. Old acquaintances reach out again. Women who were previously friendly tense up. Men in relationships throw glances at you, and you ask yourself, am I doing something wrong? You simply radiate something that cannot be ignored. True attraction is not loud, it is quiet but powerful. When a woman has this magnetism, she changes the dynamics around her without wanting to. Not because she wants to compete, but because her presence makes insecurity visible. If you notice that your very existence creates tension or awakens insecurities, then that is not a mistake. It is a sign of your strength. People who do not yet know themselves often perceive your aura as a threat, but it is not what you do. It is who you are. A woman who feels secure in herself, who does not seek approval and knows she has nothing to prove, has a deep emotional influence that creates jealousy, not because you do something, but because you are something. So do not take it as an insult, but as confirmation. If your presence awakens such strong emotions, you are closer to your true power than you think. 11th, you do not even realize how attractive you are. And that, believe me, is one of the strongest signs, because women who do not try to please are the ones who please the most. You do not seek glances or approval. You do not ask anyone if you look good. You simply are. You dress how you like, speak naturally, move with inner calm, and that is exactly what people notice. There is nothing more attractive than a woman who does not try to impress. Authenticity has a quiet strength that cannot be imitated or manufactured. And often, you are exactly that woman. But because you are not obsessed with mirrors, likes, or ideals, you do not even see the impact you have. You do not notice how you throw people off balance, how they look at you when you are not looking, or how the atmosphere changes when you enter the room. You are not focused on attention. You live, you feel, you flow. And that radiates confidence without arrogance. A woman who feels comfortable in her becoming, who has flaws but is at peace with herself, is far more attractive than a perfect but empty one. So if you believe you have nothing special, yet people seek your company, remember you, or desire you, believe me, that is not by chance. That is presence, and that cannot be bought. 12th, you have been told that you have something. Surely you have already heard this. Someone looks at you, smiles, and says, I don't know what it is, but you have something. And you laugh, shrug your shoulders, give no importance to the words. But that is no coincidence. That something they cannot name is exactly what makes you truly attractive. It is not in your height, your figure, or the symmetry of your face. It is in your energy. It is this invisible glow that cannot be seen but can be felt. The way you express yourself without pretending. The tone of your voice that transmits calm, that rare mix of strength and softness, of clarity and warmth. There are many beautiful women, but only a few whose aura makes one forget what beauty even means. And then there are women who simply cannot be forgotten, even if they do not match what society calls perfect. The difference lies in their vibration, their essence, their presence. And if anyone has ever told you that even once, then you belong to this second category, to those women who do not need to be loud to be heard, who do not seek to stand out and yet are always remembered. This something that you yourself cannot quite define is your authenticity. And in a world full of copies, an authentic woman is pure gold. So when someone tells you that you have something, do not diminish it. Do not justify yourself. Accept it, thank them, and understand that very something is what makes you unforgettable. Write in the comments how many of these signs you have already noticed in yourself. Even if you never gave them importance before, which one surprised you the most? Because often we go through life believing we have nothing special, when in fact we have long been radiating it without realizing it. And no, this is not vanity, not ego. It is simply the moment when you begin to see yourself as others have long seen you. Give the video a like if it helped you see your reflection with new eyes. Subscribe to continue discovering the emotional, psychological, and real side of life from another perspective. And share it with that woman you know shines, even if she has not yet recognized it herself. Because true attractiveness does not lie in appearance, but in the energy that leaves traces, in the gaze that knows no fear, in your way of being yourself without permission, without explanation. And never forget, woman, the most attractive thing about you is not what you show, but what you cannot hide. Your essence, your calm, your authenticity. That is irresistible.